Welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, I'm Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And Ron.
What's happening?
What's happening is tonight's episode where we're going to discuss the storylines from what seemed like a forever long international break that did feel long, and then switch gears as we give you an update on how the quarterfinals of the FA Cup shape up, all of which we'll cover in our 2x2 minute drill. Then as the halftime whistle blows, the house divided and when to the Canadian side of the family, Ron shares with us all the news that's fit to drink and yet another edition of Ron's Beer News. Coming out of the half, again, we are going to be headed to the La Liga's roundup. That's where we're going to talk about an update on where the NWSL stands after week 3, MLS stands after week 6, and look ahead to some of the midweek and weekend Premier League games back in action. We're recording this on Monday, the 31st. Crap, April's here, y'all.
I know.
Like
feels like it's December already.
Right. We should drop the pod tomorrow and then just delete it off very quick. So when you get that like alert on your phone that says it's there, and then they go to it. Wait! I thought it said it was a new episode.
Oh,
and then it completely goes.
You're right.
April Fools. You know.
You just how bad will it hurt if you just like if it was like welcome to the Brewtiful Game, and then it went to that chipmunk thing for just like an hour and a half and just let it ride right out.
Sure.
Just out of loop.
For the April Fools. Dang it. I didn't even think about it being April Fools. Well, first up, gents, shall we get into our beer? We failed.
You know what? So one thing that we didn't discuss again is who the hell's going to go first.
Yep.
We always forget that somehow.
Well, Ferris, you started talking.
Sure. Why not? A few weeks ago, I was down in South Florida in Miami, staying on South Beach. I was doing a gig. But on the way down, I got to stop at one of a brewery that I wanted to go to forever. I'm pretty sure we've had them on the pod. I'm pretty sure we mentioned them on the pod. We get them at Orlando City Stadium. It is Tripping Animals Brewing out of Doral, Florida, down there in Miami. You can go to trippinganimals.com. Just so cool. What an awesome brewery. Some great beers. They do a wide variety of beers. They do amazing IPAs and stuff, but they just do a whole host of beers. So I brought back a 4-pack. It's a eclectic 4-pack. So I'm going to have 2 beers that I actually had there at the tap room. Then I'll save 2 others that I did not have, but I'll save for a time that Ron and I are to together and podding. But again, if you head over to trippinganimals.com, it says Tripping Animals is committed to elevating and uniting the South Florida community through craft beer. We aim to foster a culture that celebrates community connection, supports arts and music initiatives, and creates inclusive spaces where everyone feels at home. By championing creativity and collaboration, we hope to inspire our patrons to engage with questions and transform the world around them. And then pretty cool. It actually started way back in 2011. A crew started to brew beer out of their garage in Caracas, Venezuela, where they made just some wild beers and it stoked the flame for them. And they traveled to many breweries around the world, and then took a leap of faith and moved to Miami to pursue, their next. So it was four gents. So in 2018, I apologize. I'm going to not do their names well, but Daniel Carcon, Ignacio Montenegro, Ikra Largaria, and Juan Manuel Torres came across their dream location and founded Tripping Animals Brewery Company in the heart of Doral, Florida.
Now,
what a fun name.
Well, I was just going to ask
where they get Tripping Animals from the name.
I don't know if it
is it animals tripping balls? Like, what are we doing here?
It's it could be a little bit of whatever you want. They have something they do every year, which is coming up in April 18th. That's called Eerie Jungle. And the picture on their site is of a baboon sitting on a lily pad surrounded by animals playing various guitars and smiling, and he has the Erling Haaland where he sits and he
Oh, like the
does
little
like the
meditation pose or whatever.
Yep. And he's wearing like a Bob Marley type hat and stuff. So the cool thing is I got down there and I saw on their thing that they had kits for sale, and I was like, they have kits, and one of them it had a collar. It was red. I was like, man, I gotta see if they have that. I got there and they only had two XL, 2XLs and a 3XL. So I got it from the rack, and I asked how much it was, and it said it was $60. So okay, that's cool. That's cheaper than most kits you buy, right? It's also 40% off because I guess it came out like last year sometime. So I'm actually wearing the kit now, but it is super sharp, great collar. It has their like logo, which I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it's like an eyeball with a hat.
Yeah,
Oh.
I was
Also,
gonna,
the eyelid of the eyeball.
yeah, the
eyelid
eyelid
of
the eyelid. At first, I was like, "Is that an acorn? That two different colors with a dot with the eye with the eyelid makes a lot more
Yep.
sense."
But all of their beers are named after various animals. And I can't believe I haven't even gotten to the damn beer yet. But the one that I'm gonna have is armored amber ale, 5.2% ABV.
Ron's got his hand raised. Do you have a question? Ron?
Yeah. What you got?
More something to add. Tripping Animals Brewing Company. The name comes from the founder's desire to evoke a sense of fun and having a great time with, quote, tripping, representing having fun, and animals being everyone. So in Venezuelan slang, tripping means fun, laid back, and having a good time.
Oh,
Animals
there you go.
referring to everyone being we're all animals. So you filthy animals kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, there you go.
that's where Tripping Animals gets its name from.
I like your armadillo on that their can art.
Yeah. So it's armored amber ale. Like I said, 5.2% ABV. I had it in the tap room. Really good amber ale. I haven't. You don't really see a whole lot of amber ales at breweries nowadays. I feel like it's mainly lagers, IPAs, pilsner stuff. But an amber ale, good amber ale sometimes is hard to find at a brewery. And this one I had it there was fantastic. So I had to get a pint and bring it back.
It's funny you say that because I've been on a kick lately for a while. If I went to a craft brew and they had a Mexican style cerveza craft, I had to get it. And my new kick has been red ales. Like every time I've gone, it's because you just don't see them as much. And so I've been on a red ale kick. Had a good one this weekend at Collusion and Lidditz.
Nice. So I'm going to have this beer first, and then I got one more that I had, and I'll tell a little St. Patrick's Day story once I get there. So we'll do that after half.
Flawless. Ron, shall I go next? Or yeah? All right. So I'm going to swing on over to one of my favorite places I've ever been and lived at, the nation of Japan, where I've got a beer from Yoho Brewing, YOHO. Yoho Brewing was founded in 1996 in Nagano, Japan, and has since grown into one of the most renowned craft breweries in Japan. In recent years, our craft beers have been attracting a growing attention worldwide and are passionately dedicated to our mission of providing truly original, high-quality craft beers to people around the world to bring small happiness and eventually to make this world a better place. I mean, how could you not love it? They have some beers I want to try, but in particular, I got the Tsuyobi no Neko, which Tsuyobi no Neko means Wednesday cat, and is made for happy hump days. Spiced with orange peels and coriander seeds, this Belgian white ale has a light citrus note and a smooth finish that comes from wheat. This meowsome beer will help you get through the rest of the week. Won a couple of competitions for Belgian style wit beer, and has adorable can art.
That's pretty fun. Where'd you find that?
Nice.
So this was part of the collection that I hadn't gone to yet. Typically, Santa always leaves me some pod beers in my stocking.
Gotcha.
Some random singles in there. And this was on his travels by Japan. He must have snagged this for little old me.
Nice. The old Santa beer.
Oh yeah, man. Christmas, boy. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
The
pod-
whole year.
Yeah, man. The pod beers from Santa, those are great. It's the last one. And I'm glad he donated because I did look in the fridge and went, oh crap, I've had everything here. Wait, I have one Santa beer left. Excellent. I gotta go get some new stuff for the pod.
There's nothing like driving home from work knowing you're gonna pod going, what beer?
Shoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just finished this one.
Like, I know I have beer, but I've had all of them on the pod before. Or, it's like, God bless it.
So, as you guys are already aware, I went to Canada on vacation. And so I'm finishing my last Canadian vacation pod beer. Also from my favorite Canadian brewery, Flying Monkeys. This one is an amber lager with the typical crazy awesome can art that they have. And it is called Raving Loops of Computer Music.
I don't even understand what that means.
That's fantastic.
That sounds like a Google Translate from another language into something.
It sounds like back in the mid to late 90s when I was playing Commander Keen, and the sound comes from the big tower, from the small speaker on that big tower that was always on the floor, and you were sitting up high, so you kind of barely heard it at the time before you had speakers that could plug in.
Yeah.
Dude, Commander Keen is a cut.
Commander Keen. Yeah, dude. Heck yeah.
So this beer, on the can, it says algorithmic runs of toasty malt sweetness back acoustic flares of lemony, laurel, and floral Hallertau hops in a shimmering body of marigold light, because your brain is already 85% song lyrics. Which is a pretty cool.
I love that.
Truer words have never been spoken.
So this is, like I said, an amber lager, 4.3 on the old ABVs. IBUs are 21. Malts are Vienna, Irix, Munich, and Crystal Birch. And throw in a little 2-row pale malt for some fun. And then Laurel and Hallertau hops, as I talked about. And then I found this funny thing on the Flying Monkeys forum. Someone said, where do you get the names of your beers? And they replied, everywhere and anywhere. But odds are, Raving Loops of Computer Music came from a poetically apt, probably misremembered phrase from an overwrought Pitchfork article about 90s rave culture stuck in the folds of my mind. Hey, I'm not judging.
That is very specific.
Oh, there's some weird dudes up there, but freaking fantastic. Great brewery.
All right,
Was
gents.
that thing in your orbits?
Say what?
Pitchfork?
Yeah.
Like one of the very first online musical magazines or music magazines. It was like all the rage. I remember it
Oh, I don't remember that.
Oh, I don't
like-
remember that either.
coming. It was like my early 20s. That was like super popular, and it originally covered like alternative and independent music, and then slowly they kind of expand to like hip hop and pop and all that. But they were like really famous. They were bought out by Condé Nast in some ridiculously huge money merger. Anyway, I didn't know if you guys had ever.
Man, dropping the
Mm-mm.
music industry knowledge of the Brewtiful Game. I love that.
Heck yeah.
That's about as musical as I can be. So,
Well, shall we get into these beers, gentlemen?
Why not?
loops of computer music.
I, in the midst of unpacking, found my Brewtiful Game glass.
Hey.
I was very excited to find
the
that.
armored armadillo.
Speaking of finding glasses, I found our original Euros glasses that we bought.
With the soccer ball on top. That one.
Yep.
Those were in the same box this was in. I was like, hell yeah. That was the one was that the one in Russia?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. And we
So
bought
was
it
it-
at the Harp and Kelt.
Was that the Euro? What was it?
2018,
2018 sounds about right.
I think. I could be wrong.
I definitely definitely was shocked and so surprised and happy to find that.
All right, cheers, gentlemen.
Slanja.
Slanja.
Or kampai, I guess, with this Japanese beer. Ooh. Oishikata desu, yo. That is tasty.
Good.
All very non-filtered Belgian white, too. Cloudy, but tasty.
Very, very good.
Looks good in that Brewtiful Game glass, almost like the logo.
A good, I would say that this tastes a little on the pale side. Like a pale American lager. That's not really a thing, but it's got that kind of
It could be
pale flavor to it before it gets that like semi-bitter amber tasting. It's pretty great.
This is good.
This is
It's not overly zesty, but it's tasty.
Yeah, and this is just just a fantastically smooth, crisp, a little bit of malt in there, amber ale.
That new brewery or newer brewery in Lidditz, you guys got to visit and come. I went over this weekend, had their red ale, had their Russell Stover chocolate stout, which was the bomb, and then had an orange cream ale that was flipping ridiculous. I haven't made it to a lot of breweries out here, but that one's been on top of it. And I think I had them on the pod right after I moved. They were like one of the first Pennsylvania beers I had. But man, they are quality. Very quality. All right, gents.
Russell Stover.
Oh yeah, the Russell Stover was so good. It was hints of caramel with chocolate and chocolate hints of caramel and coconut. It was the bomb.
Dessert.
Yeah, it was really, really, really good. Also, they have spicy Brussels sprouts that are the bomb over there. Yeah.
Puke everywhere.
Wait. You don't like Brussels sprouts?
No.
Wait, but you eat corned beef and cabbage.
Yeah.
Brussels sprouts is just baby cabbage.
Nah, don't tell me that. No, sir.
That's exactly what they are.
No, sir. No, sir.
How do you?
They're the most disgusting food out there.
But
and the name's not even appealing. Brussels sprouts? Like, it just sounds disgusting.
But you eat cabbage.
Yes.
And that's what Brussels sprouts are.
No, it's not. It's not. The little tiny balls do not turn into the big leaves of cabbage that I eat on every March 17th.
Amazing. You just blew that hurt my head a little bit, to be perfectly honest.
God, Brussels sprouts are disgusting.
Oh man, not with a little bit of. They had soy sauce and sriracha and honey on them. Oh, it was so good. Yeah, buddy.
Throw up everywhere.
So
I have thrown up before from.
Now
I'm covering my ears.
Does it say Brussels sprouts are a type of cabbage?
Yeah. In the same family as, sorry, lost the image. Oh,
I can't parse that.
Biggest fraudsters out there.
Now, when you eat them, are they like cut in half? They have the little core thing out of it? Because sometimes you leave that core thing in there and get a little bitter.
What?
From the Brussels sprout.
I don't eat Brussels sprouts ever. I don't want to see them. I don't want to smell them. I don't want to taste them. I don't want to be near them.
You don't put them in soup or?
No. Who the hell? Why would you ruin a good soup?
Have you ever had them flash fried? Because that's
no. I've never had them. I've had them like 2 ways as a kid. I puked each time, and I hate them.
Okay, so
no, I'm not doing it. No, just like on Her Majesty's Secret Service. We're not going.
I was going to say, yep.
I will watch that 500 times before I even have a single Brussels sprout. In fact, we were out to dinner not too long ago, and my sister, they were doing a pool around the table. They were going to pay me $100 to have a single bite of one. And I declined. I said, I need to see cash on the table right now, and I might have a bite. And they didn't. I'll Venmo you. No, I'm not taking no Venmo. No. I want to see hard-earned cash on the table. They couldn't produce it. I don't eat it.
I just feel like that's the next big bet on this podcast.
No,
here.
it is not. I will not bet a single damn thing for anything that relates to Brussels sprouts. You will not catch me in that bet. Nope.
That's hilarious.
Oh, the funny thing is you had such vitriol about it. The first thing I thought of was on Her Majesty's Secret Service that you refused to watch. It's literally the first thing that popped in my head.
I'll watch it 400 times in a row. rather than eat one
Oh.
Brussels sprout.
God, that was entertaining to me. All right. Well, shall we move on to our 2-minute drill? Although some of these will be a 4-minute drill. All right, Ron, take it away.
It's Ferris is up first.
Wait, Ferris, he's the F. Not Ron.
That's usually how it goes. Raul Jimenez shines with a lovely free kick in the semis to advance El Tri to the CONCACAF Nations League final over Canada during this past international break. And then he followed that up with the brace in the finals as the Mexican man of the window wins the Mexican national team's first CONCACAF Nations League over Panama by a score of 2-1. Goals in 2 games by Raul Jimenez, the Fulham forward. And gents, are the Mexicans back?
No, not quite.
I was going to phrase it this way. So, I mean, obviously Mexico, they got a good team. But like, is this because Panama did put up a match against them, and obviously Panama knocked out the U.S. So where are things sitting? Like, is Panama better? Is the U.S. worse? Is Mexico on the rise up? Where are we sitting looking at all this?
I think it's all of the above. You know, the cream of the crop in CONCACAF has always been the U.S., Canada, and Mexico, mainly U.S. and Mexico. They beat Canada, I think 2-0 in the semis, and then this was a 2-1. There was a pen for the game winner to make it 2-1. I think Mexico are maybe, back to catching a little bit of fire. They went through a really, really rough patch there, where they've lost the past few to the U.S. They beat the U.S. the last time that they played. It was a window back in November. So I think they're on to a little bit of something. Now, the question is, can they keep this going in a year from now?
Yep.
When it comes to the World Cup? And it's being played, obviously, here at home for both them, us, and Canada, but can they keep the goal scoring that they have going? Can Jimenez continue to fire? They have talent, they have speed, they have everything you kind of want in a team. I think where they lack now is the goalkeeper. You have no Manuel, Ochoa back there. You got a few in the back line that are not new anymore, but I think by the time we get to the World Cup, they're going to be a little bit more seasoned. You have a few vets in the midfield, but then with some young talent, and you have some good number 9s up front. One of the number 9s that played in this game, Santiago Jimenez. He's 23 years old. He plays for AC Milan. He did very, very well. And then we said Raul Jimenez plays for Fulham. So I think they have talent. I wouldn't be surprised if because they're going to auto qualify. I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of end top of the CONCACAF, even though they automatically qualify along with us and Canada.
Yeah.
I think consistency issues and depth issues are the thing that is probably going to pull them under should they not kind of get a hold of it. However, that being said, the rest of CONCACAF isn't looking too great.
No.
So they may end up there by default. As previously mentioned, Mexico beats Canada to advance, but it was then our great neighbors to the Great White North and my wife and my in-laws and all of those who ultimately had the last laugh as they beat the USA and chanted and sang the USA. Which, having been in Canada, Ferris and I got to experience that firsthand. And might I say, it is a bit of a catchy tune.
It is. It is.
And the problem is they're flipping Canadians. They're so nice. You're just like,
yeah, that's what was very weird about it. Like, wait, no, you don't usually say that about what, huh? But yeah. Okay, it's catchy. I get it.
Sorry, we're just yanking your chain a bit, having a bit of fun here, like,
Crack a beer from the 2-4, eh?
yeah, exactly.
So Canada beats the US 2-1 in the third place match with barely anyone in the stands and an American for Canada being sent off. That's Jesse Marsh. Political tensions are all crazy and some possible legal action now being taken by Bayern Munich for an injury to Alphonso Davies. This third place match was insane.
Yeah, so the attendance, right? And that's kind of been for a lot of the matches has been bad. So I mean, there was the promise of Pochettino coming in and people getting excited. I don't know, but there is not a tremendous amount of
attendance. I think the attendance was kind of a two-parter here. The main part, and the main part was the cost to get into the stadium.
Okay, well,
the cost of what CONCACAF has charged for some of these games, the cost of what U.S. soccer is charging to get into some of these games has skyrocketed. And it's very, very tough. They were playing, I believe, at Snapdragon Stadium, or they were playing somewhere out there on the West Coast, maybe where the Chargers play. I don't remember, but they were playing out there in California somewhere. It's a third place match, right? Everybody probably from both teams weren't expecting either of those teams to be playing in a third place match. So therefore it was the earlier of the two time slots, which played mid afternoon there, before they turned it over to the Panama and Mexico game. So I think those are the factors that played into it, probably being a little bit of a bare stadium, if you will. They're also playing in a football stadium for all of it, right? It's not right. It's not a comparison, because if this was down in, say, Mexico City or whatnot, and Mexico were still playing the third place match, odds are they would have that bad boy full, right? But I think those are some of the factors that kind of played into it here.
Well, the money is I think that's a big one, right? Because did you say like one of the matches too? Wasn't it in Columbus?
Mm-mm.
No, was not one of them in the mid? Were they all on the West Coast?
Yes, I don't remember where the first one was that they lost to.
I just remember there was
Panama.
There was just the attendance in general was kind of crap.
And also, there's not I don't know. I think if we were playing better, it'd be a little bit easier to want to fork over the money, but we've been steadily on a downhill for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I hesitate to go too far because that's our next 2-minute drill a little bit. Should I blow the whistle 20 seconds early and we just move on to that one?
No, because I do want to get to what was interesting here, that
the Alphonso Davies injury.
Yes, and that it's becoming very, very interesting in terms of what Byron is doing, and how they're basically saying to, and I don't know why none of my ink saved, but they're basically saying, it was Alice action, or I don't remember the exact words, that they played him knowing that he was coming off of or was injured and hadn't gotten a whole lot out of time. So, of course, he's going to get injured going out there.
Plus, he had a bit of a knock against Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, what Bayern is saying, for two reasons, they are saying there was malicious intent to, to Bayern Munich by the Canadian Soccer Federation. So, they were told by Canadian Soccer that if Alphonso Davies saw any playing time in the third place match, it wouldn't be very long and he would be subbed on and he would not start. However, he started, and they knew he was pretty banged up from the Mexico match. So there's that part of it. And then the second part is Bayern Munich is saying that they had no real idea that the injury to Alphonso Davies was so great until he landed in Munich, and the doctors and the medical staff there kind of assessed what was going on. Canadian soccer comes back and says, none of this is true. And they said their statement was, we further reviewed the circumstances related to the medical care provided to Alphonso Davies. Medical documentation confirms the proper care protocols were followed, and communication records show that our medical staff provided updates to Bayern Munich throughout the entire tournament. We spoke further with Bayern Munich today to provide them with context and details to address any misunderstandings. We are all focused on supporting Alphonso Davies in the months ahead. So Canada's saying we did everything right, and you guys are, just being jerks. And Bayern is like, we pay his salary, and now we can't use him for the next 7 to 8 months because he's torn an ACL.
And he just signed a new deal prior to going on international duty. And the term I was trying to find was gross negligence was what Canada is being accused of.
I don't know. It's that I don't know this will go anywhere, but it is kind of interesting because also I'm sure Bayern Munich doesn't look at CONCACAF as a necessary thing to go do, no matter they like people to go play for club and country and all that. But I don't know.
So now you got to wonder the next time in 8 months when Alphonso Davies back to playing and gets called up for international duty, to see how Bayern Munich handles it.
Which brings us to our next topic, but I'll rephrase the way Ferris put it. Does Pochettino just suck?
I'm wondering a couple of things. Because it's clear that Pochettino has some sort of clue on how to be a manager, right? The question I have is, when do we start looking at this, quote, golden generation of players for what's been going on?
You mean people that don't they give a crap about doing the thing?
Yeah. I mean, they don't seem to have much heart. They don't, in any of the matches, they're second to every ball. Everything's just kind of ho-hum. It doesn't feel like many of the players are really going out after it and care about playing for the badge. I mean, this happened during the end of Berhalter's reign, and everyone was like, oh, it's Berhalter, and this is a golden generation. I'm kind of tired of hearing about this golden generation of soccer players who hasn't produced anything.
What's the old theater writer term? Could you show me and stop telling me? Just show me that that's what you are.
And so maybe Pochettino isn't right. But also the players aren't doing very much either.
No, and this is what, game 6, 7, somewhere in that range under him. He's now lost 3 times, the last 3 in a row, if I'm not mistaken. He chopped and changed the lineup here a bit. So I think he's still trying to look for, here is my solid 11 that I'm going to put out there. But in the same respect, I agree. The golden generation, well, we have immense talent, right? I think that's part of where it comes from. We've never had this amount of players playing overseas in big clubs, being the top players for their teams in Italy and the championship, in Germany and Spain, where these players are playing, have never quite been like they are now. I think that has a lot to do with it. But I think we got to give Pochettino a little bit of time. He does have a year out. It's a little discouraging to go through this with what we just did. He lost to 2 teams that historically we have beaten, but the rest of the world has come up, with talent too. So when you chop and change teams, to me, it's telling me you're trying to figure out who you have in the position that you had. You had a pretty much a completely different back. Well, you did not completely. You had a completely different back 4 against Canada than you did against Panama. You had a different midfield than you did in each of those games. Your attack was different in each of those games. Yeah, you brought him off the bench, those sort of things. But to have a completely different back 4 from one game to the next, tell them you're still trying to figure out what your best pairings are, what your best team is, and you're looking not so much at these games right here, but you're starting to look ahead. And that's a very glass half full from me, but that's where I'm thinking that trying to take that glass half full approach.
I will say this, not qualifying for the previous World Cup did not help. Like,
you mean the one prior to?
Yeah, the prior to. So that did not help. We talked about attendance prior and stuff like that. That did not. You're not riding a wave, right? But I'll say this: they better be damn lucky that we are hosting the World Cup, because I don't think we'd make it a second time in a row. I think I think that really helps the situation a lot, because I just am not sure that they would qualify. And doing club versus country is very different, right? We've had people that are great at coaching a club, not be good at the country, and vice versa. They leave from coaching a national team and go over to a club, and it doesn't work out as well. So it's still it remains to be seen, but I can't shake the feeling that dude can only do so much with the cesspool of behind the scenes BS that he walked into in the first place. And I don't know how much that's hurting. And it's just I need to let Potts ride this out until there's new people coming in. Not that that's a quick thing, but I don't know. Who was online? Who was on complaining about him? Who was the old men's national team player that was like, it'd be great if these guys actually they cared to play for the badge. I forget who.
Was Landon Donovan and Tim Howard didn't have kind words, or not. I almost say kind. And it's not that they were mean, but they did not mince words when they were talking about this.
It wasn't a favorable analysis.
And let me tell you, Landon Donovan, not shocking. Tim Howard, he says that kind of stuff, and you pick up and listen, because he doesn't usually run his mouth unless.
And they do a podcast together now. To be fair, if anybody's going to criticize the things that the team's doing or speak to those things, it's those two, right? They've played hundreds of games with the national team. They've scored big goals. They've made big saves. They played at the World Cup. They played every game that you can possibly play. So, they absolutely have the right to kind of speak their truth and opinion on it all, because they were there. So,
Ugh. Gentlemen, Thomas Tuchel is back. This time for his first two matches in charge of the Three Lions, as England take on and beat the powerhouses of Europe in Albania and Latvia.
Albanians, they always got to get them.
No goals against throughout, and 5 goals scored. The competition wasn't very tough, but does this Three Lions squad look like they could get over the line with Tuchel at the helm?
I mean, I think in this one, it's super early to tell.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well early.
I mean, obviously they've had a strong run, the national team in England. So if they do falter a bit, I mean, it really will probably come down on Tuchel fairly hard, because he was walking into a pretty decent situation.
Yeah.
The team's pretty stacked too.
Yeah, they have the talent. That's exactly where I was going to go.
Midfield is Rice and Jones. Your attacks was Foden, Bellingham, Rashford, and Kane.
Yeah, he should be able to do fine. Of course, but this is the English media, so if they don't actually start bringing some trophies home.
And it's a German coach.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That plays into it. But I will say, and shame on me for not putting this in, because it's been a few weeks, but Dan Burn, his first call-up, the Newcastle hero that won their first bit of silverware in 70-some years. That you should have seen the parade the other day. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Did you see Eddie Howe's
Newcastle?
Did you see Eddie Howe's giant mural on the side of a building?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and one needs to be put, a statue of Dan Burn has to go up, right? All 6, 7 of how tall is he? 6'7", 6'8". But to win that, to bring a Newcastle lad to win their first, as they beat was it Man? No, it was Liverpool. They beat in the Chupacabra Cup. the Caribou Cup. We know what it's called. And then go away for his first call up to England and gets a 2-0 clean sheet win against the freaking Albanians.
By the way, I love that you said the Chupacabra Cup. You went Caribou Cup. We know what it's called. It's actually the Carabao Cup.
Whatever it is. Caribou, cow, whatever.
That made my day.
Do you know it's a sports drink, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're stacked. If he can organize them, keep those clean sheets, do a little bit what they did do. Not that, again, they're not playing the Germany Spains of the world, but they attacked well. Kane was integral in that. If they can keep him integral in that, he's a goal scorer, and I think they'll do okay.
Well,
but,
and Tuchel does feel like someone who will manage a national team pretty well, I think.
I think
we'll see. Yeah,
Tuchel's really good at, in my opinion, putting people in the places that they can be best utilized. And that's a great quality for an international manager because you don't get a lot of time to train them as a unit. So you really just have to put people in the positions that they are best at to keep things flowing.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. This brings us over to a messiless Argentina as they spank Brazil in a World Cup qualifying match. Brazil then sacked their manager, Dorival Jr., a few days later. Club Leon of Liga MX are kicked from the FIFA Club World Cup. That's a hard phrase.
Mm-hmm.
FIFA Club World Cup, thank you very much. And announced just today that over the summer, our United States women's national team will take on Canada in a friendly on July 2nd at Audi Field. Just a mosh pit of international news topics. So that's a great way to put it. So where do we start? Messiless Argentina?
I think the biggest news out of all of this is Club Leon of Liga MX are kicked out of the FIFA World Cup for failing to adhere to the multi-club ownership rules. And so there is the thought that LAFC and
Man City, right?
No, they're LAFC and a Mexican club are going to play.
Oh yes,
playoff.
Play for it. Yeah,
and the winner of that is going to take Club Leon's spot.
I think it's Club America and LAFC.
So I think that's kind of the biggest news because that's a pretty historic line in the sand for this multi-club ownership kind of strategy in world football.
Well, and I think it's even bigger news because everybody was kind of laughing at the FIFA Club World Cup. Not laughing, but it's the first year they're doing it. And it's kind of like, really, we're going to play another tournament. They just want to grab money. But I think it's news because not only is it a 32-team event, but the prize money was just announced this past week. The winning team will take home $125 million. Yes, Ron.
I have my hand up because it is not the first time the Club World Cup has been played.
Correct.
Club World Cup has been going for quite some time, and
yes.
everyone keeps saying, "What's the inaugural?" It is not.
It's the first time of this format of it because it's only been 4 teams, 8 teams. This is
it's just an expansion.
A massive expansion.
But an expansion,
a summer tournament, expansion, which is usually it was done during like January of the year, and the prize money is crazy.
$1 billion total.
That is incredible.
And most people were not taking this version of the tournament very serious. Ticket sales in the U.S. are down because everybody's like, eh. And so, in my opinion, FIFA had to put some money behind it to make it much more popular. And so $1 billion total prize money throughout the entire tournament is how they're going to do it.
Meanwhile, every manager of every club in most large leagues are like, can we too many games. But let's expand this on out.
But Blake, you get a trophy that you have to unlock with a key. I don't know if you saw that, but Johnny Infantino, right? Is that his name? Johnny Infantino was in the Oval Office or where he was with Trump. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he unlocked it with a key.
And then
in
they
fairness, that's
keep
pretty
President
cool.
Trump.
Yeah.
God, hilarious.
Wait, so literally, like, it is a key you get as part of your.
Yeah. So it's
Like the supporter shield, kind of.
Oh, got ya.
but it's on this like turntable thing, right? Or this like dial.
You put the key in it, and for any of you kids who watched Space Camp growing up, it spins into a multi-axis train.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is a good man. We got 2 good cuts in this here pod from the 90s. Jinx loves Max.
Max and Jinx,
Yeah.
and forever.
That's what it is. What about Messiless Argentina?
Eh.
Yeah,
They just spanked Brazil. I think it's
more
it's
about
not
the
that
manager.
Argentina. Well, it's not the fact that Argentina beat Brazil. It's that they beat them 4-1, and they didn't have the predominantly the world's best player on their side. So I think that's probably why the dude got sacked.
Did you say the
because
world's best player, or the world's most protected player?
all the above?
Yeah.
And apparently he's going to win the East, the West, the NWSL Sheet, everything that Ron said on the last pod. He's going to win it all. It all. But I think it was definitely the 4-1 scoreline. I think it was. No, it was. It was in Argentina. So not complete insult to injury, but it did cost Mr. Junior his job there.
Bye.
So they need a new manager. They're hoping the odds-on favorites, I believe, is they're hoping for Carlo Ancelotti to lead them to the next World Cup.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that.
Sure. And on one side of the FA Cup bracket, we're down to the Final Four after this week, and I'm not talking basketball.
But we are with
In
that
soccer. Yes, we are in that too. Crystal Palace smoke showed Fulham 3-0 at Craven Cottage in a London derby. And then in the other game there, Marcus Rashford finally finds his shooting boots for Aston Villa as they win by the same scoreline over Preston North End at the Deepdale. One, how good were each of those teams, and then two, who do you got when they take on each other here in a few weeks' time to get to the FA Cup final?
I mean,
honestly, I want to see Aston Villa.
Look,
I'd love to see them win something good.
I think, yes, I would love to see, because I think if Man City won, I think Aston Villa could throw it to them. However, if we had a final with Nottingham and Crystal Palace, that would be wild.
That'd be fun. That would be fun.
I mean, just to on paper, Nottingham should have this, but who knows what the hell's going to happen. But I think if Man City, well, to be honest, man, I think Nottingham or Man City were to win, to come out to be for the final, I think Aston Villa is the only team that can beat either one of them.
I disagree.
Yeah?
I think Palace, if you remember Palace last year, started slow, sacked their manager, Oliver Glasner came in, did okay, but then they really kicked on in like the last half of the season. They were walloping teams there all throughout like end of February, April, and May. And they showed that in this game. This was away at the Cottage, not an easy place to go, and they blanked them. And it was all Palace.
You know what's just cool, though? Look at these Final Four teams. It's just great to see some small clubs in there for a change. All four of them.
Well, but you would say that. But these are all Premier League teams that are now going to be in this Final Four, and we'll get to the two others here in a bit.
Don't mess me up insulting Man City. Don't mess me up insulting Man City.
That's fair.
It's just four small clubs just doing what they can.
And then for the Villa to win at a place called Deepdale, I think that's good for them. Good for them because they dug deep and they won.
I would love to see Villa win this.
I would love to see Villa win because I also want to see what Tom Hanks will do if his
Yes.
wins something.
Yes. I don't know if there's any famous fans for Palace. There is for Fulham, isn't it? The one guy that always looks good. He's always in the rom-coms.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, no, he's British.
That narrows
Hugh
it
Grant.
down. Hugh Grant.
I think he's a Fulham fan, but I don't. Is there anybody for Palace?
I don't know, but I'm going to find out for you after this whistle.
And at the other side of the bracket, Brighton and Hove and Nottingham Forest played out to a 0-0 draw, with Nottingham Forest eventually advancing 3-4 on pens following the extra time. Then in the last match yesterday, Bournemouth saved a pen and took the lead 1-0 in the first half. It looked like Bournemouth really had the Man City number, but it was the striking duo of Holland and Marmoush, with a host of other subs who saved the day for Man City as they advanced in the semis over the Cherries. Not really much to talk about in the first match. Bournemouth City were a different story. Who do we got advancing to the finals, gentlemen?
I would love to see Forest just continue this season that is just
Amen.
crazy for them and
Yeah.
just get to the finals.
If Forest and Villa were against each, it'd be a hard pick for me, just as a neutral watching that, because both would be such great stories.
Well, and you have to keep in mind too, they have something to fight for. Bournemouth and Villa are really in a fight right now for Europa League games or Champions League games when it comes to Villa next year, as they both sit in 9th and 10th. So they're fighting for a chance to play in Europe next year. The winner of the FA Cup plays in the the Europa League. So you have 3 teams, Man City, who are in 5th, who you can even say they are trying to fight for a European games going into next season. And then you have Aston Villa in 9th, Bournemouth in 10th, and Palace in 12th. So one of these 4 teams is going to get a shot to play in Europe where they may not have gotten there from league play.
Before I blow the whistle and take us out of the time, I just would like to let you know, famous Crystal Palace fans, there are quite a few. My favorites on the list were Bill Nighy, not the actor, not the scientist guy, but Bill Nighy, not Bill Nighy.
Yeah, no,
Bill
fair,
Nighy.
fair. Okay.
Eddie Izzard.
Yes.
That's a big one. Okay.
Says Liam Neeson. Love that. So,
Oh, yes.
Well,
yeah,
he's got a particular set of skills.
he does. It's a pretty
But
good.
somehow he always loses his freaking family.
Yeah, every time.
How do you always lose your family?
Hey, when you can punch a wolf in the face, you can take care of anything. Can we just be real for a second? Will we never forgive that movie for the trailer showing us the final shot of the film of him with those glasses in his hands to fight that wolf, and then it goes dark and you didn't get to see him punch that wolf? Like, I'll never forgive that movie. It was a great movie, and if that hadn't been in the trailer, it would have been one of the best movies I've ever seen. And instead I was like, oh, you can't put that in the trailer and that's the last shot. I need to see that dude try to duke it out, go down fighting a wolf. Bare knuckles. Well, I guess not bare knuckles, but
I want Palace now to get to the finals that way, where they're in Wembley, they're having a day out on the finals, and they put this video right before the game up on the screen to hype up the Palace fans, and it's Liam Neeson just doing, the overlay, just in that voice. I will find you, and I will kill. I can't do a good Liam Neeson voice, but just doing that entire, doing like a minute monologue, just hyping up the Palace fans to take on and kill whoever they're playing.
well, hey, so this is weird, but the 2 boxes I opened just now or yesterday, so I found my Brewtiful Game glasses and some other beer glasses. My other is my autographed Liam Neeson photo of him from Rob Roy with his he's got the flintlock out, signed by Liam Neeson. My mom got me like in 2000, I think.
Oh man, Rob Roy, that's another cut there.
He was doing a charity for UNICEF, and it was on the radio in local North Carolina. Like, some guy named Liam Neeson. Hey, he was in that last Star Wars movie, and mom donated and won that one for me. I was really excited when I found that.
That's awesome.
That is best sword fight in film ever. Most real, I guess, most realistic-y. Yeah. Oh, such a good story.
Tim Roth?
Tim Roth and Liam Neeson. Yep.
Great
God,
fight.
That movie's so good. All right, gents. I suppose that brings us to the end, and now it's time for the halftime whistle. Or now it's time for all the news that's fit to drink with Ron's beer news.
Gentlemen, It's time to put on your science hat for a minute.
On.
Perfect. Blake, you all strapped in?
Ready to go? Click, click.
A self-taught Welsh inventor may have solved a decades-long problem in beverage technology.
The first part of
How-
that sentence was amazing.
Wonderful. Now do it in a Liam Neeson voice.
Except he's not Welsh.
No, he's not.
I have always wondered this question, and I'm glad this Welsh inventor has an answer for it. How to keep drinks cold without a refrigerator?
Age-old question.
James Weiss, a 31-year-old former bartender, developed what he claims is the world's first commercially viable self-cooling can.
What?
Yep. All the major drink brands are already paying attention. In an interview, James Weiss said it's crazy the people we're speaking to. Coca-Cola, Red Bull, AB InBev, Molson Coors. This is what this guy did. Self-cooling can, which would have broad implications for drinkers around the planet. The invention offers a portable solution for keeping beverages cold without the need for, a power-eating refrigerator. Gentlemen, of all the power on the planet, 17% of the global electric usage is for refrigeration, according to the UN. So if this is true, reducing the dependency, especially at outdoor sporting events and things like that, could cut tons of carbon emissions. So, dubbed the Cool Can, the device resembles a standard 500 milliliter beverage container, like, aluminum can. It holds 350 milliliters of drinkable liquid. And the reason for that is there is an insulated inner cavity, right? So you shrink down about 150. When the button at the base of the can is pressed, water is released into the vacuum surrounding wall, where it reacts with a coolant chemical inside to rapidly chill the can within 2 minutes.
I'm just like going to the beach with not a cooler, but like a 6-pack in hand.
Yeah.
That would be rad.
No more all this lugging heavy stuff around. You just have a 500 milliliter can, or 6 or 8 or whatever. And you just push the old button. So the inventor asked himself, how come we're in a world where rockets can be brought back and landed from space, but our cans go warm when you walk 10 minutes away from the refrigerator?
That's a fair
These
question, my
these
friend.
are the kind of
Fair
questions
question.
mankind has not been asking enough
Fair
lately.
question. Who cares about landing on the moon? Wow. That's a big deal.
Been
Come
there,
on.
done that.
Yeah, wow. One small step for, come on.
Is the size
One
scalable?
giant step for beer kind. Let's go.
Is it scalable in the sense of like size wise? Like, can you be like, I don't have a big tub with like 12 bags of ice for this keg. Can they do that on a keg? Clack, and then
be the savior to cake parties.
Yeah.
I'm sure it can be expanded.
Oh, this link is cool. Okay, that's the picture of the can?
So the picture of the can.
It just legit looks like a regular
It looks
pounder.
sleek.
Slightly
Yeah,
larger than
yeah.
a regular pounder.
Yeah, but looks sleek too.
Yeah. And I'm sure, the bottom will be the cool can, and then the top will be whatever beverage is going to be in it.
See, that's one of those things that like it'll cost more, but people will totally buy this. That's cool. That's really cool, actually.
And if big drink manufacturers, AB InBev, Coors, Molson Coors, Coke, Pepsi, if they buy into this, you're not going to have the choice because all their beverages will come in the can.
Look, who this is for, targeted specifically, is a 44-year-old person living in Pennsylvania that does a beer podcast that because he's 44 doesn't drink the beer fast enough that when he buys different beers for the pods has a bunch of other beers left over. And if I could not fill the fridge up with those beers and just crack one here for the pod and it instantly chilled it, look, free commercials on the brutifulgame.com. You can make this happen. Like, we got you.
Speak the good word, brother. Speak the good word.
So this James Weiss sifted through information and researched how to make chemical equations work with the can. It took him 500 prototypes. He came up with the design and the technology of Cool Can. He says, it was about 1:00 in the morning. I called up my partner and was like, I've done it. And he hadn't slept for 18 hours. This is like a Doc Brown moment.
Yeah,
right?
Eureka!
Like,
Yes, yeah.
it works.
Great Scott!
It works, as he goes running through the street. It works. So trials are planned in London this summer, and the product is expected to enter mass production within 2026.
So it's obviously going to cost more, but I can't wait to see what the math comes down to. If you were a Orlando City Soccer Club and you were like, hey, we only have canned beers from here on out, we're going to eliminate all the or if you were building a new space and you didn't have to have as much refrigerator, that's crazy. Like,
well, people are kind of on both sides of this coin as they would be, right? The can uses more aluminum than a regular can because it's a double wall.
Sure.
The unit is not currently reusable, so you're throwing away twice as much aluminum for every version, right? So maybe that part isn't the green initiative, but the thing that is the green initiative is, like you're saying, if a stadium doesn't have to have a bank of refrigerators and power them for X amount of time over the season, that's going to save money big and save electricity big.
well, that's one of those things
Aluminum costs a little bit more.
Exactly. But you just got to start it, right? You got to do the thing, and then somebody else will figure out the aluminum. You know what I mean? Like,
Just see how it goes.
yeah.
Yep.
That's cool. I mean, and just the novelty of it alone, people will dig for a little bit.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
that's,
I mean, think about, you could get all the beers at in the Orlando City beer gardens. You can get them. You get rid of all those refrigerators because you don't need them. You don't have to spend that money on power. You walk away. You buy your beer. You hit the cooling button. You crack the beer, and by the time you get back to your seat, your beer's frosty cold.
I love it.
that's pretty rad.
That is pretty
Isn't that
rad.
great? So the last thing Vice says is that he doesn't plan to stop inventing on this technology anytime soon. He said, I see this very much like the Dyson vacuum cleaner. And now we're going to invent the hand dryers and the hair dryers and the purifiers. And so keep an eye out for cool cans. This ought to be pretty interesting. And there is beer news.
Go Welsh inventor, DIY inventor. I love it. All right, that brings us out of halftime, and it is now time for the La Liga's Roundup. Ferris, take it away.
All right. Quick story time, though.
Oh, wait.
All right. So
You got a beer pause, right?
I do.
Yeah, okay. Let's hear it.
So I have another beer from Tripping Animals. It is a premium Pilsner beer called El Crimpy. But I have green Crimpy. So my gig was I drove down to Miami on St. Patrick's Day. Never in my life did I think that I would be in Miami on St. Patrick's Day. For the many number of years, I've been at Clearwater in a nice Irish bar called O'Keefe's with my mom, family, friends, and homemade meal and all of that for Lord knows how long. Down in Miami, stop there. People are getting this green beer. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never done green beer on St. Patrick's Day. Like, nope, not about to start now. Nope, not doing it. Go to the beer cooler, and I wanted a variety. And this is a very good beer, a very good Pilsner beer. And I was like, that's green. I was like, you know what? I'm in Miami. It's St. Patrick's Day. Nothing is right about this scenario whatsoever. So I might as well get a green beer. Right? Yes, Ron.
So the question is, are you more likely to drink a green beer on St. Patrick's Day or have Brussels sprouts?
Green beer on St. Patrick's Day, 100%. Now, you'll notice that the can is not open. My plan was to have it that night back at the hotel. Drive down. So I go Doral to South Beach, I don't know, 20th minutes. I'm driving down. I'm staying off of Ocean Drive there, so literally right on South Beach. I'm driving past, and I see that this Irish bar, St. Patrick's Day. Still, the sun's still out a little bit. I'm seeing a live band in there. The doors, starting to fill up. They got somebody at the front door. It looks like a proper Irish bar. Hey, my hotel, 2 blocks away. Cool. I'll drop my stuff off there. I'll go to the Irish bar. I got to have a shot and a beer, right? Got to have a Jameson and a Guinness. So I'll do, I won't do that beer yet, right? So I get to the hotel. I throw up my bags and all of that. You know what? I'm going to go down for just, a more shot and a beer. So I walk a block and a half. I walk in. There's a band playing. They're playing like a Nirvana song. Vibes good. There's people all around. They're singing along with the band. Cool, man. Absolutely digging it. Go up to the bar. Sit down. Look up and I go, that's a Liverpool flag. Son of a bitch. That's a. Oh. It's the official Liverpool supporter bar of Miami. I'm like, you got to be kidding me on all the days. So I order a shot and a beer. Guy drops me off the shot as he's waiting to pour the rest of the beer because it's a Guinness. He hands me the shot. I do the shot before he barely turns around. Shot down, have a beer, sit down. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Then the band started to play.
Yeah.
The Killers and Mr. Brightside. I was okay. I stayed and I watched. Thankfully, they didn't play any Liverpool songs or You'll Never Walk Alone or anything like that. And it's definitely a Liverpool supporter bar, but not at that time of night, right? It was a party on St. Patrick's Day. So I listened to that song, down the beer. I'll send you guys the video, and I was trying to find the name of the bar. It was like Mickey O'Rourke's, or it was something along those lines, but I'm sure it's a nice soccer bar for when that team in Liverpool's playing. But I never thought I'd be on South Beach on St. Patrick's Day, and never thought I'd walk into a Liverpool bar on St.
Is it Mickey
Patrick's
Burke?
Day? Mickey Burke's. Yes, there it is.
Yeah,
there it is. But yeah, so I'm sticking true. I still have never had a green beer on St. Patrick's Day. I'm gonna have it on March 31st.
This is such a fair story. This is like so perfect. Wait, what was the style of beer again?
American Pilsner.
It looks kind of green to me.
Instead of L Crimpy, it's green Crimpy.
That looks so wrong.
It does. It really.
Make sure you get a good picture of that.
Aaron.
I'm like,
well, yellow number 40 we mix with
whatever it is. Yeah. Just never. I'm like, just get a beer. Just get a Guinness. Why are we gonna dye the damn thing green? Like it just doesn't. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I will never understand about like Irish, like St. Patrick's, whatever parties at bars, whatever. And you're like, Ken McGinnis, people are like, you're not gonna do the green beer. I'm like, you do know this one's from Ireland, right? I mean, like it is from Ireland.
And it's a swanky little place. It's not like, you're kind of
What was it called
Love
again, Ron?
Mickey Burke's
Mickey Burke's.
on Washington Avenue.
Right there on South Beach. Yeah, no,
It
was cool.
it's
I can't complain.
It's not like a kind of Irish bar that you'd be used to.
Yeah.
The swank.
Yeah,
but it was the only thing on like South Beach that wasn't, it had a little bit of Irish vibe there on St. Patrick's Day. So
hey, if we're telling cool places to have a drink story, I was working in Baltimore the weekend before last, and good fellow friend of us of ours, Ferris, I used to work with over at Universal, was there representing Universal. It was this theater conference. They were looking for like kids who wanted to be like interns, those kind of things, working for the design team. Mr. David Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
And so we hadn't seen each other in a bit. And so one of the nights after the conference, he said, you want to meet me at this bar called, he goes, it's supposedly the oldest continually operating bar in America, called the Horse You Rode In On. So I said, sure. Great name,
Heck
right?
yeah.
Great name. So that night, around 10:30 at night, I catch an Uber. He texts me and he's like, hey, I gotta tell him on the way. He goes, what are you drinking? Because it's like an 8-minute drive. And what's cool during the drive, you started, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Baltimore, but you start to shift from that like into old Baltimore. You're like, oh, these buildings I'm surrounded by now are all from the 1800s at least. You know what I mean? Like you're starting to get older. And I go to the website and it says the Horse You Rode In, or Horse You Came In On, is the name of the bar. But right under it, it's called, also known as Poe's Last Stop. And it is the last place that Edgar Allan Poe was seen at a bar before he was caught, like with whatever, he was in a fugue state where he couldn't make sense of anything the next day and was dead and then died shortly thereafter. So I see, I'm like, one of the drinks is Poe's Old Fashioned. Like, well, that, I don't care that it's just an old fashioned with Poe's name on it. That is what I will have. And I go in. We are the oldest people by a good chunk. But it's like such a weird dichotomy because it is this cool ass old interior with these wood beams and crap that you're like, Edgar Allan Poe was leaning against this wall having a beer or having a drink. Yeah, this is crazy looking, right? And there's all this Poe stuff in there, which I have to admit, I would have changed the name to Poe's Last Stop. But
Right.
But inside, it's just like this like very American meat market and this like band playing cover tunes and like really drunk dude bros and like dyed blondes all day. The juxtaposition of what it was so wild. Like to
That's
me,
awesome.
as we sat in this corner, especially like this feels right when you look at it until you listen to everything else that's going on around you.
And then you observe the people who are populating it.
Yeah. It was just weird. You should be like, you idiots even know what the Raven is. like what are you doing? Which I guess my version of this bar would probably not make a lot of money. It's like it would be much Poe stuff.
You got to go in and order Amontillado, right?
See, that's the thing, dude. If they'd have had Amontillado on that menu in a heartbeat, I would have ordered that. You are dead on with that. That's exactly. You would just have the cask of Amontillado. Yeah, you'd have to do that. Really cool place, though. Oh, I love some good travel bar stories. Although Ferris for St. Patrick's Day in Miami, that's very Ferris.
It's not very Ferris. It was very odd.
It's a very Ferris story, though.
But went to a good brewery. All in all, I can't complain. So,
did you taste the food coloring?
You know what? I sure did. It's good. It is a crisp Pilsner lager.
Was it brewed there?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the can was canned February 26, 2025 at 11:26 a.m.
I guess it gets a little pass for being brewed instead of just food coloring just squirted in there right before you drink it.
Yeah,
Who's the brewing company?
It's Tripping Animals.
Oh, I'm sorry. Right.
Yeah. So it's like it's again their El Crimpy beer that they do, but it just instead of just brewed.
Yeah.
Green. And I just kept seeing people have it. I'm looking on the menu. I'm like, oh, it has to be that, right? It's not going to be an IPA they're doing that with or anything like that. Right. And sure enough, I wanted because the beer that I had there was a pint of just the normal one, or I had it in a flight or something. It's like, that's damn good. I kind of want something, a little bit light. And this was, they didn't even have the normal Crimpy beer. They only had the green Crimpy. And I was like, son of a. So I did it, but I did not have it on St. Patrick's Day, but I'm having it now.
God,
and it tastes good.
All right, Ferris, can you whip us around the La Liga's roundup?
Sure can. Yeah, because we're a little bit short on time here, but NWSL and MLS are in full swing, and week 3 just ended in the NWSL, and guess who's top of the table, boys?
The Orlando Pride.
Unbeaten.
It was so nice to sit here at a local bar and watch that match. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Yeah. With my Marta
3-0-0. Yes.
Yeah.
9 points plus 9 goal difference. Only 1 goal given up on the season, and it was on the match that we were at, or that I was at on Saturday there. Second place, Kansas City Current, also unbeaten, and the Washington Spirit, who are 2-1. You're going to see these 3 teams anytime that they play each other throughout the year. I think we have the Spirit next here at home in a few weeks. But those are your top 3 teams, and those are the teams that you can expect to really just battle it out all year. Angel City in 4th, San Diego in 5th, Seattle Reign in 6th, Bay FC in 7th, and Houston Dash in 8th. It is still very, very early. You have teams like Portland Thorns, Gotham, North Carolina Courage, who have all been your kind of very good, long stay type, solid teams in the league for a while, not off to very good starts. But it's like I said, it's just a long year. So it's such a fun league to watch. If you haven't watched a game, if you haven't gone to a game yet, please do. It is so much fun. You can find them on Amazon on Friday nights, Ion on Saturday nights, and ESPN normally on Sundays. Sometimes you'll see them on Saturdays as well. And then you go to NWSL Plus and watch all those games for free as long as you sign up. So
the NWSL Plus for free to be able to stream these things is super rad. But I will say, man, I was watching the game on my phone and listening to it as we drove out to go get lunch, and I was like,
it's pretty good quality.
But I walked in and I'm like, oh yeah, because it's on ESPN, because that's why I was watching on the ESPN app, and it's on the TV there. And I just thought, MLS, that money they got from Apple, I just don't think it was a smart move for growing. You know what I mean? Like the exposure. No one's walking into a bar and stumbling into an MLS match because of the Apple TV deal. It's just. I don't know.
I think in some ways it's better that they did that because it created a void for things like women's soccer to take the time.
Sure. For sure. I just mean for them. I don't think it was a good idea, but like, I agree. Like, I mean, cause it's fun. People were like caught on that we were paying attention, and then they thought my daughter was cute when she like cheered on something or whatever, and it's like, these people are like, that's how it happens though, right? You're like, well, what is this? I don't know. You know what I mean? And when you have a big nationally broadcast matches like that, the MLS is Apple. Well, look, they were probably convinced of something with the money that I just don't think it's coming to fruition with that Apple deal. I can't imagine. It was an 8-year deal. I can't imagine it lasting.
It's something like that. And it's a good kind of segue into the MLS, because I watched actually a good bit of the pregame coverage and halftime and postgame that are on Apple TV Plus. And they do a good job with it. The games are crisp, they're clear. It's pretty easy to find. It's pretty easy to navigate when you're on there. But you're right, in terms of that kind of national audience, it's tough. And it's also behind a paywall unless you have an MLS season ticket, and then they say for free, which is a good initiative to have. And while the MLS is growing, and a big announcement came out while we were not doing the pod, but the USL is going to start doing Pro Rel here in a few years as a competition to the MLS.
That's big.
Yes.
Have relegation.
Right.
Promotion.
So I think Blake, to your point, it's a double-edged sword, because I think it has helped them in several ways.
But paid for Messi.
It did, and that certainly brings a lot of eyes to the league in general. It has people paying just because of that alone, right? Where you may not have seen this kind of uptick in season tickets and subscriptions and those type of things without him here. But I think what Apple TV's doing is what NBC has done for the Premier League. It's just now we're 10 years on,
but I disagree.
Years on from what they, because it's behind a paywall. They're putting money into it. They're putting out documentaries. They're putting out shorts. They're putting those things that if you have access to it, you can really dive in and really immerse yourself.
That's where
into
I think
the league.
But that's where I think they're not, because Peacock, I don't pay any extra to have Premier League.
No,
do you know what I'm saying? I pay for Apple
I'm not
TV.
Saying I'm right. I'm not saying it's a like for like, but in terms of what NBC did, it wasn't on Peacock at first, right? Because it wasn't even a thing,
right?
It was NBC Sports Plus app or something, right? It was just not something weird, but showing a lot of the games, growing the game, having the now you have podcasts, you have a Rebecca Lowe show, you have the Men in Blazers, you have these things that have kind of sprouted from that you can kind of see what the MLS was going for, but then also they got caught up in the time where everything was then behind a paywall on these streaming type services.
Except they aren't, though, again, because Peacock isn't behind a paywall. It's just it's normal subscription. You don't pay extra for Premier League. Whereas with Apple, I pay whatever Apple's fee is a month. Right. And if I do MLS, I have to pay. That's where I think the mistake is. They should, if they were going to do that, and by the way, I just looked it up, and it was a 10-year deal starting last year. So if I was going to do that, I would say we don't have a paywall beyond our normal subscription fee for like the first year. I don't know. They went like, because right now I think it would make a lot of people angry, but Peacock probably could try to do that and try to make more money at this point because Premier League is popular enough. But they jumped on it like they were the NFL. It's like they tried to run before they could walk. You know what I mean?
They needed to do something, though, because the deals that they had, nobody was picking them up.
But I don't know that
Apple was competing with.
Do you think they'll stick with this? Because a bunch of people are not really paying.
Well, they kind of have to right now.
Well,
but it also helps that a lot of people that are interested in the league have a season ticket and do have it. So I think that does help grow it in some ways, whether it's word of mouth or somebody can watch on your account or anything along those lines, that I think do just secondhand, those type of things help to grow the game, to say, hey, they have some pretty good stuff on here. I think it's much harder, though, because of that paywall that's there. And the product isn't what the Premier League is and the biggest, but they had to do something to infuse cash into the league to continue to grow it. And who knows what year 4 holds or what year 5 holds, that they make it now just part of your Apple TV
but
Plus
at this rate,
subscription, and it helps to grow it. So I don't know.
At this rate, though, I don't know that it's going to pay off for them. That's the thing.
I think it already has, but I think it's because you have a player down in Miami that has helped to grow that more times than they can think.
Well, he ain't going to play for the next 9 years.
Correct. and that's where you see how it does after that. Because I think he's holding a lot of how that how much eyes are on those games. I don't know the TV numbers, the streaming numbers. I can bet you more eyes are on those Inter Miami game than almost any game in the MLS every single week, no matter who they're playing.
I did a quick you never know how Google, when they try to use their AI to put stuff together, but it sounds like there was an initial growth, but the growth is from zero, right? They aren't treating it like growth from previous eyeballs. It was just growth of this this concept, which had 2 million subscribers, but MLS have increased significant. Social media interactions with MLS have increased 230% in 2024. I don't know if that's an indication of streaming or not, but it says playoff viewership was up around 50% from 2023 to 2024.
I think it's a lot of parts to it, but the one thing you have to say, even though it's behind a paywall, it's that they put on a clean product in terms of the game, the quality that you're seeing on your Super HD TV, the studio shows, some of the documentaries and that sort of stuff are good.
I forgot something. It is in 100 different countries. It's not just the U.S., whereas Peacock is just the U.S. It's 100 different countries. But does that help? Because if all of a sudden...
Sure.
No. Like...
How are you growing the game very well in the U.S.?
Right.
Or about?
Yeah. Like England was full Premier League, and they were like, oh, good, we can get people from other countries because we're done. We can't grow much more here. And I'm sure they won't, because streaming gets so shady about talking about what their stuff means. Or, Netflix will say, this is the most streamed movie that's ever existed in the world. And no one's seen it. What are you talking about? Like, so I don't know, what constitutes it, with Netflix, they haven't admitted whether if you just stream it for 5 seconds, if it counts as a view or, I don't know. I feel like this is going to be the things that shake out and we understand later what's really going on with MLS.
So a story in the USA Today has an interview with Garber. And Garber says that the MLS has seen well over 1 million viewers for the Saturday night games since the start of this season. But like Blake said, the viewers are not just the U.S., it's internationally.
Yeah, because 1 million in the U.S. would be huge. That would be good, right? That'd be huge.
But to that point real quick, Ron, one of the things they did with that to help to get that is they put all of the games, if it's on the East Coast, at 7:30. All of the games on the West at 10:30 or 10 or whatever, so they kept very similar time slots that, every Saturday I can tune in and there's going to be a game at this time. That's one of the things they helped rather than have them scattered all over the place.
So here's something that I didn't realize was going on. This year, the MLS and Apple have partnered with several companies so fans can readily access MLS games. DirecTV and Xfinity users can buy MLS season passes through their providers.
Yes, I do remember seeing that.
T-Mobile customers can receive complimentary access to the MLS season pass.
Phil shot that in our text group, I think, at some point.
Android users can find the MLS season pass in the Google Play Store. And MLS games have also been available on the Apple TV Plus and via Amazon Prime Video. So I guess there's more than just the Apple TV that you can view this on. And this article was published February 21st, 2025.
And select MLS games going back to Fox and FS1, which I don't think I realized.
So they're not locking themselves simply to Apple TV Plus only. This is interesting to note because I had either not realized or not known that all those games were elsewhere.
Yeah, I didn't know that you could do the season pass on Google Play, because that was the other thing I was going to say. You made a deal with Apple, and not everybody has Apple stuff. I mean, a lot of people do, but not everybody does. So that answers some of that. I just still seems a little walled off to me, I guess, when it's all said and done.
Well, it's only the second year, so I'm sure at the end of 2 or 3, they're going to start reevaluating how it's going, right?
Yeah.
Be smart. It would be stupid if they didn't.
Well, I think that there's a lot to see how it plays out here in the next few years, how they handle it together and this partnership. Once Messi retires, how do they handle those type of things that are going to come in years to come? But round 6, you had some good games though all around. The New York Atlanta game was probably the tie of the entire round, because Atlanta United playing at Mercedes-Benz Stadium were pretty much down the entire game, down 1-0, down 3-1, came back and won 4-3 against NYCFC. Just crazy game. You had a great game on Sunday in San Diego, their first home opener against LAFC, and they won 3-2 on the day. So a great win from them. They're off to a great start to an expansion team. Right now they're third in the West. So if you do have Apple TV and you do have access to it, it's certainly worth a watch, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on it as well. So you feel free to send us an email or on Instagram or anything like that, just to kind of say, chime into this. But table right now, very, very early, 6 games, obviously. Inter Miami tops the East. Philadelphia Union, Columbus Crew, Chicago Fire, Charlotte FC, Nashville, Orlando City, and FC Cincinnati will round out your top 8, your main playoff spots there. In the West, you have Vancouver Whitecaps actually top of the table. They have a +5 goal difference. They've only lost 1 so far on the season, I believe. And they're off to a great start. Austin FC is second. The aforementioned San Diego FC is third. Minnesota United, Colorado Rapids, Portland Thorns, FC Dallas, and LAFC round out your top 8 there. Long season. 30 teams now in the league, so a lot to play for still, and we're not even in the dead of summer yet. And real quick before we end, Premier League is back.
Yes.
And we have some games starting tomorrow. Again, we're recording on Monday the 31st, so April 1st. It's not a joke. There are games tomorrow. Arsenal, Fulham, Wolverhampton, West Ham, Nottingham Forest, Man United. And then Wednesday, you have a whole host of games. Nothing really stand out there besides a Merseyside derby at Anfield at 3 o'clock on Wednesday, April 2nd. And then a lone game, a London derby as Chelsea take on Tottenham on Thursday, April 3rd.
The battle for mediocrity.
There you go. And then on the weekend, you have another games as they come quick. Probably the best game on Saturday, 12:30 Eastern Standard Time game. Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest play each other. Could be a foreshadow into the FA Cup, maybe. Sunday, the game there is going to be the Manchester Derby at Old Trafford as Man United take on Man City. So it's like, what, 8th versus 14th in the league now. So, not quite the derby that we've seen in the past, but still there. So yeah, that is the Premier League real quick on the table. So, I mean, it's, we weren't gone that long, but feel like we were gone forever. Liverpool just more than likely going to win as they're 12 points clear of Arsenal in second. Nottingham Forest still in third, and they are 5 points above Chelsea, who are in fourth. Man City in fifth, only a point behind Chelsea. Newcastle and Brighton a point behind Man City. Fulham a few points out on 45 points, tied on points with Aston Villa in ninth, and AFC Bournemouth round out your top 10 in the Premier League right now. And the battle for the bottom isn't really a battle for the bottom, as Wolves have kind of started to run away a little bit, and they are 9 points clear of Ipswich and Leicester City, who sit on 17 points. And Southampton's just Southampton.
With a negative 49 goal differential.
Woo-wee.
Are they gonna be able to be the worst team in Premier League history?
They're on their way.
They're
I might be in Southampton in May, so
right.
We'll see
if you can watch them lose a match.
You know what? More than likely that would happen.
Either that, or going to play Manchester United and win it.
Yeah, I think I'll be there after the season ends. Well, funny you say that. Their very last game, May 10th, Southampton at home against Man City.
Ugh. Man City or Man U?
Man City.
Gotcha.
Man City, yeah.
Yeah, they ain't going nowhere. Ron's like over here,
Nope.
like the battle for mediocrity between Chelsea and Tottenham. Like, Tottenham are 14th. You're in 4th. You're doing just fine.
So, yes, but if you look at the stats for Chelsea since the turn of the year, we are 14th in the table.
Still a plus 16 goal difference.
We haven't won a game in 2.5 months.
Well, it was a long international break. And that has been your La Liga's Roundup.
Oh, that was good. All right, gents, our beers owe the pod. Let's wrap this sucker up. From Yoho Brewing in Nagano, Japan. I have the Tsuyobi no Neko, the Wednesday Cat Belgian white beer, and it was delicious.
And from Tripping Animals in Miami, Florida, I have Armored Amber Ale, 5.2%. And then I'm having right now Green Crimpy, a premium Pilsner beer. And it's a their main brewery and tap room is out of Doral, Florida.
I had Flying Monkeys Craft Brewing from Barrie, Ontario, Canada, and the beer was Raving Loops of Computer Music Amber Lager, and it was tasty.
You won the can art for the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Ferris, you got us a Zlatan quote?
So I actually do. And as we were talking MLS, you can head over to MLSsoccer.com and it will tell you the 12 best Zlatan quotes from his time in the MLS.
Excellent.
Didn't even know this was a thing.
MLSsoccer.soccer.com.
You're damn right. They go through like they rank 1 through 12, but one of the ones that I thought fun was very short. A reporter says, "Will they let Zlatan into Area 51?" Zlatan's response, "I have my own Area 51."
I don't even know what that means, and I love it.
No, but no. The one that I do think is quite hysterical and is voted their number one is I came here because I won a lot. I didn't come to relax. That's what I am. It's not for nothing. I have won 33 trophies. I think that is more than the whole MLS.
I mean, I need to sit down and do the math.
It's the number one quote on MLSsoccer.com, by the way, from Zlatan.
God, love that man. All right. Follow us along on the socials. We're on the Blue Skies. We're on the Facebooks and all that jazz. Leave us a review and a rating on the podcast catcher of choice. Usually it's just Apple Podcast. Let us know if you do. We'll try to get something fun to you. And and don't forget to follow us on Untapped, where all the new and groovy beers go up. I love how many times we get like the badges for like world travelers and stuff, just because since we're all bouncing around a bunch of stuff, it just cracks me up that we're like on 92nd or 3rd level or whatever it is, something ridiculous that's on there. Gentlemen, tomorrow, as you know, as we record this on March 31st, is April 1st. So as opposed to a dad joke, I'm just going to leave you with a piece of wisdom going into that day. For anybody thinking about what they're going to do tomorrow, here's this for you. How, gentlemen, is April Fool's Day like a huge open mic night? No clue? Millions of people go out of their way to demonstrate how unfunny they actually are. That's just the truth. That's like some Jack Handy from Saturday Night Live. That's just the truth.
Man, I haven't thought about Jack Handy quotes forever.
Okay, we needed one more deep cut in there, and there it was. You're right
Jack
there,
Handy
Ferris.
comment. Save that joke.
Well, would you like my other favorite one?
Sure.
What was the donkey doing to annoy his friend? It was April Mule's Day.
That's better. That's better.
Love the beer, cherish the game, the Brewtiful Game.